For privacy reasons, names and places have been changed. This story is inspired by true events.
On the morning of July 12, 2004, 22-year-old Zachary Cooper left his family's home in Santa Cruz, California, to catch the dawn surf. He never arrived back on shore. Despite an extensive search involving the Coast Guard and local authorities, Zachary vanished without a trace, leaving behind only his cracked surfboard. For 20 years, the Cooper family lived with the agonizing uncertainty of not knowing what happened to their charismatic son. Then, in the summer of 2024, a discovery was made in a dusty storage warehouse hundreds of miles away. This is the complete investigation into what happened to Zachary Cooper and how a cracked surfboard finally revealed the truth. Before we continue, let us know where you're watching from, and if you enjoy this content, consider liking and subscribing to our channel. Now let's continue. The California coast, renowned for its majestic redwood forests and world-class surf breaks, held a special allure for Zachary Cooper. At 22, he embodied the quintessential Santa Cruz spirit. A competitive surfer with a natural talent on the waves, Zachary was also a dedicated lifeguard, committed to the safety of others who shared his passion for the ocean. He was known for his infectious enthusiasm, bright smile, and unwavering dedication to both his sport and his community. The morning of July 12, 2004, dawned clear and crisp, promising ideal conditions for surfing. The early morning light painted the sky in hues of pink and orange as Zachary prepared for a pre-dawn session at Steamer Lane, a legendary surf spot just north of the Santa Cruz Wharf. Witnesses saw him paddle out, a familiar silhouette against the rising sun, his distinctive red and yellow board easily recognizable amongst the handful of other early risers. He offered a wave and a smile as he passed. Hours later, however, Zachary had not returned. His absence, initially met with casual concern, quickly escalated to alarm when his red and yellow surfboard washed ashore, snapped cleanly in two. The jagged edges of the break suggested a violent encounter, and the immediate fear was a shark attack. The news rippled through the tight-knit surfing community, casting a pall of dread over the usually vibrant beach town. Zachary's parents, John and Susan Cooper, received the devastating news with disbelief. Their initial hope that he might have simply paddled to a different beach or sought shelter from a sudden change in weather quickly faded with each passing hour. The image of the broken board, a symbol of their son's passion, became a constant reminder of their worst fears. The Coast Guard initiated a comprehensive search, deploying boats, helicopters, and divers to scour the waters. Local surfers, lifeguards, and volunteers joined the effort, driven by a mix of hope and a growing sense of despair. Days turned into weeks, and the search continued, but no trace of Zachary was found. The ocean, which had brought him so much joy, now held a chilling silence. The prevailing theory remained a shark attack, fueled by the nature of the broken board and the area's known great white shark population. As time wore on and the search yielded no further clues, the grim reality began to set in. With heavy hearts, authorities officially declared Zachary Cooper presumed dead, leaving his family and community to grapple with the agonizing uncertainty surrounding his disappearance. The Santa Cruz Police Department launched an investigation into Zachary Cooper's disappearance, focusing on the recovered surfboard. Marine experts examined the fractured fiberglass, noting the clean break and jagged edges. While consistent with a shark attack, they couldn't definitively rule out other possibilities. Investigators interviewed the surfers who had been in the water that morning. Each recounted seeing Zachary paddle out, but none witnessed any unusual events or signs of distress. Their accounts painted a picture of a typical morning surf session, abruptly interrupted by Zachary's unexplained vanishing. Sonar scans of the ocean floor around Steamer Lane and the broader Monterey Bay area were conducted, but these yielded no significant findings. The vastness of the ocean and the unpredictable currents presented a significant challenge, hindering the search efforts and frustrating investigators. John and Susan Cooper, grappling with the unbearable loss of their son, clung to the hope that some clue would surface, some piece of evidence that would explain what had happened to Zachary. They met regularly with the police, desperate for any updates, but the investigation was hampered by the lack of concrete evidence. The shark attack theory, while plausible, lacked definitive proof. Some investigators considered the possibility of an accidental collision with a boat. Steamer Lane, while popular with surfers, was also a designated boating channel. However, no boaters reported any incidents, and there were no witnesses to a collision. Without any physical evidence linking a vessel to Zachary's disappearance, this line of inquiry was ultimately dismissed. As weeks turned into months, the investigation gradually stalled. The initial flurry of activity subsided, and the case grew cold. Leads dried up, and the media attention waned. Zachary's disappearance became another unsolved mystery, leaving his family and community with a lingering sense of unanswered questions and unresolved grief. The ocean, once a source of shared joy and connection, now held a painful secret, a constant reminder of the young surfer who vanished without a trace. The disappearance of Zachary Cooper cast a long shadow over the Santa Cruz surfing community. Steamer Lane, once a symbol of the town's vibrant surf culture, became a poignant reminder of the young life lost. Local surfers, many of whom knew Zachary personally, felt a profound sense of loss and unease. The ocean, their shared playground, now held a sense of danger, a reminder of the unseen forces that could snatch away a life in an instant. Zachary's parents, John and Susan, refused to let their son's memory fade. They established the Zachary Cooper Foundation, dedicated to promoting ocean safety and supporting aspiring young surfers. They organized annual paddle-outs in Zachary's honor, drawing hundreds of surfers who gathered to form a circle in the water, a symbolic embrace of the ocean that had both nurtured and claimed their beloved son. Over the years, various theories and rumors circulated about Zachary's disappearance. Some speculated that he had staged his own death, seeking a new life away from the pressures of competition. Others whispered of foul play, suggesting that he had crossed someone and met with a sinister end. These theories, however, lacked any credible evidence and offered little solace to Zachary's grieving family. The Santa Cruz Police Department periodically reviewed the case, but the lack of new leads made progress difficult. Forensic science, however, continued to advance. DNA analysis became more sophisticated, and new techniques for analyzing trace evidence emerged, offering a glimmer of hope that someday, the mystery of Zachary's disappearance might finally be solved. The 20th anniversary of Zachary's vanishing arrived, a somber milestone for his family and the community. 2 decades had passed without answers, without closure. Yet, amidst the grief and the unanswered questions, a renewed sense of hope flickered. Advancements in technology and a dedicated team of investigators, unwilling to let the case remain dormant, held the promise that the truth, however painful, might finally be revealed. In the spring of 2024, a seemingly unrelated event in a dusty storage warehouse miles from the coast would reignite the investigation into Zachary Cooper's disappearance. During an inventory of unclaimed items, a storage unit revealed a collection of surfboards, gathering dust and forgotten by time. One board, in particular, caught the eye of a warehouse employee. Its distinctive red and yellow design, though faded and weathered, bore a striking resemblance to the board Zachary Cooper had been riding the morning he vanished. The employee, recognizing the board from old news reports, contacted the Santa Cruz Police Department. Detectives arrived at the warehouse and carefully examined the recovered surfboard. While the vibrant colors had dulled and the fiberglass showed signs of wear, the unique design and dimensions matched the description of Zachary's board. More importantly, a closer inspection revealed something previously overlooked. Unlike the clean break associated with a shark attack, this board displayed a series of impact marks along the rails and underside. These indentations, consistent with a forceful collision, suggested a different narrative altogether. Small flecks of blue paint embedded within the damaged fiberglass further solidified this new line of inquiry. Captain Nicole Franklin, a seasoned investigator with the Santa Cruz Police Department, took charge of the reopened case. Recognizing the potential significance of the newly discovered evidence, she assembled a team of forensic specialists. The paint transfer, barely visible to the naked eye, became the focal point of their investigation. Captain Franklin understood that if this paint could be traced back to a specific vessel, it could provide the crucial link they needed to solve the 20-year-old mystery. The realization dawned that Zachary Cooper's disappearance might not have been a tragic accident, but something far more sinister. The cracked surfboard, once considered evidence of a shark attack, now pointed towards a deliberate act, a carefully concealed truth hidden beneath layers of time and assumption. Captain Franklin's investigation began with the painstaking process of analyzing the paint fragments recovered from Zachary Cooper's surfboard. The paint, a distinctive shade of metallic blue, was subjected to a series of forensic tests. Spectroscopic analysis revealed its chemical composition, allowing investigators to narrow down the potential manufacturers and types of marine paint. This analysis pointed towards a specific brand of anti-fouling paint commonly used on the hulls of larger vessels, such as charter boats and yachts. This narrowed the field of potential suspects considerably, shifting the focus from accidental collisions with smaller recreational boats to the possibility of involvement from a larger, commercially operated vessel. The investigation then turned to identifying boats that matched the paint profile and were operating in the vicinity of Steamer Lane on the morning of Zachary's disappearance. Port records, Coast Guard logs, and harbormaster records were meticulously reviewed, creating a list of potential vessels present in the area on July 12, 2004. One name that emerged from this search was Hunter Stevenson, the owner and operator of a charter fishing business based out of Santa Cruz Harbor. Stevenson's boat, a 42-foot sport fisher named the Sea Serpent, matched the description of the type of vessel that used the specific anti-fouling paint identified on Zachary's board. Investigators began building a timeline of Stevenson's activities on the morning of Zachary's disappearance. Interviews with former crew members and clients revealed that Stevenson had taken a group of anglers out for a pre-dawn fishing trip on July 12. The Sea Serpent's logged course placed it in the vicinity of Steamer Lane around the time Zachary was last seen. Ryan Morales, a longtime friend and occasional crew member for Stevenson, was interviewed by Captain Franklin. Initially, Morales was reluctant to cooperate, offering vague and inconsistent accounts of his whereabouts on the day of Zachary's disappearance. However, as the investigation progressed and the evidence against Stevenson mounted, Morales began to crack under the pressure. He hinted at Stevenson's involvement in illicit activities, suggesting that the charter fishing business was a front for something far more lucrative and dangerous. Further investigation revealed a possible connection between Zachary Cooper and a drug smuggling operation believed to be operating along the California coast. Investigators discovered that Zachary had inadvertently captured a photograph of a clandestine drug drop-off on his digital camera just days before his disappearance. This photograph, recovered from Zachary's belongings after his presumed death, depicted a nondescript fishing boat matching the description of the Sea Serpent offloading packages onto a smaller vessel under the cover of darkness. This discovery provided a potential motive for Stevenson's actions, suggesting that he may have silenced Zachary to protect his illegal operation. Under the mounting pressure of the investigation, Ryan Morales finally broke his silence. He confessed to investigators that Zachary Cooper had unknowingly photographed a drug smuggling operation orchestrated by Hunter Stevenson. Morales revealed that Stevenson used his charter fishing business as a cover to transport narcotics from Mexico to the California coast. The drop-offs, typically conducted under the cover of darkness, involved transferring packages of drugs to smaller boats that would then ferry them ashore. Days before his disappearance, Zachary, an avid photographer, had been taking sunrise pictures at a secluded cove near Steamer Lane. Unbeknownst to him, his camera captured images of the Sea Serpent and a smaller vessel engaged in a drug transfer. Morales recounted that Stevenson had been furious when he discovered Zachary's photographs. He feared that the images could expose his illegal operation and lead to his arrest. Stevenson, according to Morales, had devised a plan to silence Zachary. On the morning of July 12, 2004, Stevenson intentionally steered the Sea Serpent towards Steamer Lane, knowing that Zachary would be out surfing. He waited for an opportune moment, then deliberately rammed Zachary's surfboard, causing the fatal collision. Morales admitted to helping Stevenson conceal the damaged surfboard, storing it in the warehouse unit where it would remain hidden for 2 decades. The confession provided a chilling account of Stevenson's motive and actions, confirming investigators' suspicions that Zachary's disappearance was not an accident. Dr. Emily Ortiz, a forensic specialist with the California Department of Justice, played a critical role in solidifying the evidence against Stevenson. Using advanced microscopic techniques, Dr. Ortiz compared the paint samples recovered from Zachary's surfboard to a sample taken from the hull of the Sea Serpent. The analysis revealed a perfect match, conclusively linking Stevenson's boat to the collision. The metallic blue paint, a seemingly insignificant detail, became the irrefutable proof that placed Stevenson at the scene of the crime. Armed with Morales' confession and the irrefutable forensic evidence, Captain Franklin obtained an arrest warrant for Hunter Stevenson. He was taken into custody without incident at his Santa Cruz residence. The news of Stevenson's arrest sent shockwaves through the community. For 2 decades, Zachary's disappearance had been shrouded in mystery, presumed to be a tragic accident. The revelation that he had been murdered to protect a drug smuggling operation stunned the town and brought a renewed sense of grief and outrage. For John and Susan Cooper, the news of Stevenson's arrest brought a mixture of relief and profound sadness. After 20 years of unanswered questions, they finally knew the truth about their son's fate. The confirmation of his murder reopened old wounds, but it also offered a glimmer of hope for justice and closure. Hunter Stevenson was charged with homicide and drug smuggling. The upcoming trial promised to be a high-profile affair, bringing to light the dark underbelly of the seemingly idyllic coastal town and finally offering Zachary Cooper's family a chance to see justice served. The trial of Hunter Stevenson captivated the nation, drawing attention to the quiet coastal town of Santa Cruz and the long unsolved mystery of Zachary Cooper's disappearance. The prosecution presented a compelling case, weaving together Ryan Morales' eyewitness testimony, the forensic evidence linking Stevenson's boat to the collision, and Zachary's inadvertently captured photographs of the drug smuggling operation. Stevenson's defense team argued that the evidence was circumstantial and that Morales' testimony was unreliable due to his own involvement in the illegal activities. They maintained that Zachary's death was a tragic accident, a result of the inherent dangers of surfing in a busy channel. However, the weight of the evidence proved overwhelming. The jury, after days of deliberation, returned a guilty verdict on all counts, convicting Hunter Stevenson of homicide and drug smuggling. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The courtroom erupted in emotion as the verdict was read. John and Susan Cooper, their faces etched with a mixture of grief and relief, embraced each other, finally receiving the justice they had sought for 2 decades. The truth, though painful, brought a sense of closure, allowing them to begin the long process of healing. The conviction of Hunter Stevenson had a profound impact on the Santa Cruz community. The case exposed the hidden dangers of unchecked criminal activity, shattering the illusion of tranquility that had long defined the coastal town. It also highlighted the importance of persistence in seeking justice, demonstrating that even cold cases, with the passage of time and advancements in technology, could be solved. In the wake of the trial, the Santa Cruz surfing community rallied around Zachary's memory. A memorial plaque was placed at Steamer Lane, overlooking the spot where he was last seen, a permanent tribute to the young surfer whose life was tragically cut short. The Zachary Cooper Foundation, established by his parents, continued to thrive, providing scholarships to aspiring young surfers and promoting ocean safety awareness. Zachary's legacy became a symbol of hope and resilience, a reminder of the importance of cherishing life and pursuing one's passions. The case of Zachary Cooper's disappearance serves as a testament to the power of truth and the unwavering pursuit of justice. It offers a message of hope to other families of missing persons, demonstrating that even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds, answers can be found and closure can be achieved. The ocean, which once held the painful secret of Zachary's fate, now serves as a canvas for his enduring legacy, a place where his spirit lives on in the hearts of those who remember him and in the waves that continue to crash against the shore.